Welcome back. We've got a view towards winning the Canberra Chess Club Championship this year. And so we have to work on bringing that reality out of the realm of fantasy. So to do that, we're sitting here and we're going to do a puzzle streak. We're going to try and approach 50. Again, there's not a lot of time, so we'll really only have one attempt, so we'll just try and be accurate as much as possible. Now it looks here as though we can just give a checkmate in one. That cannot be stopped. So we're not afraid of our bishop because we've just given a checkmate instead. Now here there's a fork that comes to mind immediately. That's a very nice move because just on the face of it, it gives a check, it wins a rook, and then we should be able to evacuate the knight. So check, he moves, we take this. It's possible that he actually tries to box us in there, but there's still no better move. I mean, check, he can't take. And if he takes like this, we take, he takes. Well, now he's got a full bishop, so it's still the best move we have. So he's going to try and win that knight, but we still have a rook compared to the bishop, even if he does win the knight. So there we go. Now here, he is attacking our queen, but we start methodically. We can take the knight with a check. And because it's check, he doesn't have time to take our queen. He either has to move the king or take the knight in one of various ways. The best of those ideas would be to take with the queen so that he at least recaptures a piece and doesn't ruin his pawn structure. The problem for him after we do that is there's no longer a defender of his bishop, which means after we take the knight and he takes back, we can take the bishop. All right, that's good. Now, let's keep this going. We've got a check here, and that would only leave him with this possible move. Then we have this check. And well, that's just mate. So is this also mate? Yes, it is. So this is where, there is such a thing as art and style and aesthetics in chess. It's up to you whether you want to play this move or whether you want to play this move. To me, this is the more aesthetic one. Again, let's start with our checks. Okay, we can give a check here. Take away the whole back rank. Yes, he can block it, but why would he do that when it just gives us a piece? And still leaves him in a situation where the king has to come here. Once the king does move there, regardless of whether he has sacrificed this bishop or not, we can then play this move to finish the game. Now in this position, the most obvious move is to take the bishop that's checking us. We've been checked. Why not just take this? What he wants to do is probably play his king here, which threatens a pawn, but more importantly, makes way for this pawn to become a queen. So I'm going to calculate this without arrows. See if you can follow along. See if I can follow along. So king h4, taking the bishop. Sorry, king f4, which takes the bishop. King g2, and then I'm just going to say d6, h4, d7, h3, d8 queen, h2, and because we're there first with our queen, we can either play queen g8 check, moving him away, and then playing something like queen h7. My calculation has definitely gone off the tracks, but it's clear that our d5 pawn is going to become a queen before this h5 pawn. If we take, and the reason is because he has to spend this one move, moving the king out of the way. So we're one move ahead already. Now we're going to be another move ahead. And after they move, we get a queen. He's only here. And now we can play, like I said, we can bring, well, I said queen h7 to give him a check, moving him somewhere. And then coming to h7 to prevent this from actually becoming a queen. And I think that's actually probably fine. Yeah, he can move the pawn first and, do it in a different move order. Doesn't really matter. Okay, we need to continue on. Now, there's a checkmate. We might as well just give that. Remember, we're supported by this long-range piece. Here it looks like a knight fork dream. Now, unfortunately, the other problem with the knight fork is it doesn't actually come with a check. And so he might be able to move his queen away with a check. When we move out the way, or block. But let's say when we move out the way, he can probably then also move something else. But regardless, let's be methodical. Why not start with this check? Because that's just a checkmate. Always better to give a checkmate if you can. Now he's not really threatening to take this with the pawn because he would drop the rook. But again, let's be methodical. So here's a check. And with this check and this bishop and this rook, this is almost checkmate. The only thing he can actually do is drop a pawn in front of us, which we can also take. Then it is checkmate. So yeah, the methodical thinking has been a big lesson. The biggest lesson, I think, from the Winning Chess series is just you have to think methodically. Because otherwise, how do you cut down on the Googles of possibilities? Check. Say he comes here. Then check would lose the rook. So you've got to be a little bit careful about those things. We can give a check here, though. And this guy's looking very lonely. So after we do give this check, he can't come anywhere here or take this. What we can do after check, and he's forced here, we can do several things. One is we can, I was going to say we could give another check. So we go check, he moves, we go check. But the problem is then he takes the bishop, so that even though we take the rook, he then takes another bishop, and we've lost 2 bishops for the rook. We don't want to do that. But I do like the idea of check and then being able to skewer the king to the rook. I just don't want him to be able to take 2 bishops. So what we do is we go check to move him across. Then we take this guy. He's not just going to allow us to take this. There's no checks he's got other than this, but we simply move out the way. So he's going to take this bishop back. Then we go check. He drops back. Then we take the rook. He takes the bishop. And in that situation, we are doing well. No, we're not. We're not, and that's the end of the streak. It's always humbling. What did we do wrong here? Well, we just didn't consider all of the checks. I mean, it's that simple. I did think that in that finishing situation that I had calculated after check, he moves, we take, he takes, we give a check, he comes here, we take the rook, he takes the bishop. He does have double isolated pawns here, and I thought, well, he can never touch this pawn with his bishop, so this pawn will always hold at least one of these. And in holding one of them, it kind of holds both of them. My rook should be stronger than his bishop, and we both have pawns, so I thought it just must be better for me. But why did I not look at other checks? I looked at this check. I just simply didn't look at this one. So make sure you look at all checks and make sure that you actually have looked at all checks. Are there any other ones you haven't looked at? Because this check is just extremely simple. You can't go anywhere here. And you can't go anywhere here. So it's pretty simple. See, it's easy to miss. It's easy to miss checkmate in one. It's easy to be in a position where the entire championship could be in your hands if you just play one move, literally one move, and finish the game. It's easy to just overlook it and say, well, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this. No, we've got to enhance our methodical thinking, and that's going to only serve us well. So when you're looking at checks, make sure you see all of them. Look at them all. All right, I'm going to leave it there. That's all there's time for today. We'll catch you next time.